This is right on topic here. I believe we have a caller because I have this message from the board. Anonymous, who works in the government. Is there an anonymous out there on the line?
Hey, Mike and Peter, how you guys doing?
Cool. What do you got, man?
Hey, well, I'm a big fan of both. Big fan of your work, but obviously the issue here is we can't go forward and be activists just out in the world. My question to you guys is even for Collapse.net and for the Zeitgeist movement, which I am a part of both, we want to go out there and freely be activists, but apparently, obviously, we can't. But I want to see have you guys thought of anything that we can do as law enforcement or military or in people that just can't do it out in the open?
Listen, there's a lot of people out here in government, law enforcement, and the military. You know that Ron Paul is the single most popular candidate throughout the military. Something also the press cannot seem to acknowledge.
Sure.
But that's a very good question. Peter, do you want to shout? How do people in government who will lose their jobs if it's known that they're protesting? How can they help?
Yeah, that's one of those huge problems. Especially in an income-based system where people need their occupation. That's what keeps people in line. Is really money and that necessity. The military. I know lots of people in the military. I get constant contacts from the military that are so supportive of all of this. They know that they're involved in kind of a corrupt institution. They know that the engagement of what they're doing isn't really helping anything as far as society. And I always encourage them to gently spread that information amongst their peers, and then inevitably get out of the military. I mean, I really kind of believe in the institution itself. If people just didn't acknowledge it, if we didn't have, say, a military channel, I discovered this the other day at a friend's house. There's actually a channel on TV called the Military Channel. If that isn't a cultural reinforcement of this institution as some staple of everything that's supposed to be normal, I don't know what is. But I say get out, and I encourage everyone out there that's in the military that doesn't want to be there. If everyone just stood up and just stopped participating in these actions, there would be nothing to do. Obviously, that's easier said than done.
Yes, there's
obviously
secrecy oaths, there's terms of enlistment, there's there's all kinds of binding stuff that.
Well, I mean, if enough people did it, they couldn't prosecute everybody. If really that kind of mutiny was able to amass, I mean, I almost made a movie, and I still might, called To the Military, and it's basically an open letter to everyone in the armed forces and the police departments to make them question what they're doing, because they hold such power. If the military, we talk about all the things that could happen in oppression. Once the military understand that this collapse is going to occur regardless, once the police forces, once all the basic security institutions understand that this is going to happen anyway, they need to make a decision. Do they support the current system and protect, the interests of the corporations, or do they turn it around and do they force the hand and start to work with the people and try to get a new system in place through that leverage of the military's angles and weaponry and everything else? I hate to say that. I don't mean that in a violent sense. But just like those coups that have occurred where they manipulate the military and the military goes along with it, like with Hugo Chavez, the military finally snapped out of it and they said, boom, we're not going to tolerate this, and they turn right back around on their masters. And I think that's a hopeful assumption. So
I
we'll see what happens.
That the turning point will come when people in law enforcement, people in government, the machers, the ones who make things run,
right?
And the military recognize or shed a false belief that by doing their job as a cop, as a soldier, as a bureaucrat, that they're going to keep their job. What they really have to understand is the way things are working, they're going to be eaten too, and all they're doing now is standing on the shoulders of people who they're drowning, only to wind up with the same fate themselves. What's so important for also what I see happening too is an awakening around this planet that regardless of nationality, language, or color, we are all one empathic species. Truly what happens to us in Fukushima is happening to us everywhere,
Yeah. Am I still on the air?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, see, my thing is that these guys need to realize that we took an oath to defend also against domestic enemies.
Right.
Okay,
sure.
And that needs to be taken seriously. I just think that they don't realize that it's a reality that a domestic enemy is real, is in front of your face.
That's why I have so long objected to, again, the Alex Jones FEMA of concentration camps for everybody, gray 3 squares a day.
Yes, I agree.
Because that's just not going to be the case. That's too expensive. There aren't the resources to do that for 310 million Americans, and certainly the military is stretched way too thin. We're going to be on our own. So, just keep watching and doing what you can. We appreciate, and I get a CollapseNet especially, a high volume of traffic, Anonymous, from various parts of the government and law enforcement and the military. And just know that you're not alone.
Right. And there's a list of people that, they come to me.
And at some point, what's going on? I lost my sound. And at some point, there's going to be a massive awakening. We have another email, too. We go down about the last 5 minutes of the show. We've gone through the station break to make up for the time we lost. This is an email from Richard Lewis. What role does intuition and or spirituality fit in problem solving? Intuition is a, quote, natural process and is employed by most species on the planet. I believe intuitive leaps must be made sometimes just to get past roadblocks. For example, take bread. It's been around for at least 12,000 years. I don't think someone at the time guessed on yeast and bacteria interactions along with temperature effects and microbiology food sources. There simply wasn't enough information available for the scientific method to be employed. Some of the greatest discoveries were founded on large intuitive leaps. Anyway, great work on the Zeitgeist movies and concepts. Keep up the good fight. That's from Richard Lewis. Peter, you want?
Sure. I think there's 2 points there. That one is intuition. I would say intuition in the sense of, you look at a cat, and how does a cat jump perfectly up onto an 8-foot platform and land in absolute elegance? That's an intuition of the biology of an organism. And we have amazing visual intuition, if you will, where you can watch two projectiles come in different angles, and your brain will immediately calculate where those two will come together or how far apart they'll be. You'll notice this when you walk around. If a car's coming your way, you'll be able to navigate. If a bike's coming your way, you'll know if you're going your same velocity and they are, that you'll hit them. And we intuitively do that. But when it comes to invention, which I think is what he's really pointing at, invention is always random. And that's something I think it's very important to realize. There are obviously components with knowledge, but no one really kind of invents anything in its like root form. When someone invented the wheel, no one invented the wheel. They kind of figured out that, say, a log fell over, a tree fell over, and the log rolled, and they just found the observation. You can call it intuition, but I think it's more of something clicking. It's hard to create words for that, but as far as the role in decision-making, obviously there's an experimental quality that always goes along with anything that we do, which goes back to the media festival, the role of art and science, and keeping an open mind and thinking outside of the box and surrounding yourself with so many different cultural variations. I mean, you obviously see the difference in thought with, say, one individual that lives in the South and never left his hometown versus someone who's traveled the entire world with lots of exposure. You'll definitely see a difference in creative thought and flexibility of thought. So I think it's just a process of exposure and experimentation and chance, but I'm not sure if intuition is the right word.
Well, for me, from my spiritual perspective, intuition is also inherently a part of plugging into a wisdom that is already there, that doesn't arrive via cognitive processes. I've been lucky with very good intuition throughout the course of my career as a policeman, and certainly in the struggle sense. But
sure,
such things are to be listened to. Inspirations now, I think necessity is the mother of invention, and it's true that in all times of great human conflict, some of the best new ideas are forged, if you will, or hammered out in the crucible of the hard times, and that's kind of what I predicted coming in the movie Collapse, is that, like Zeitgeist movement, for example, like new wisdoms, maybe old wisdom, that maybe the semantics are not important, but the awareness of so many other options being available, which is ultimately hope-giving.
Sure.
We're down to about the last minute. Peter Joseph, I'm going to wrap up with my listeners. I want to thank you so much for
sure.
joining us again on the show. We will have you back again. And everybody out there in Zeitgeist, please know and understand, you have allies at CollapseNet, you have allies in Transition US, we have allies now in the libertarian movement, and certainly with Ron Paul, who is recommending the right financial steps to liberate what we need to liberate now and get doing the things we need to do. Peter, you're a big part of this movement. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much, Mike. It's an honor, and I just want to remind you and everybody else, not to remind you, but the entire audience, that we're all in this together, and it's time we start to think about it that way.
Absolutely. Peter, we'll be talking to you soon. Thank you for joining us.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Everybody, I'm going to be off next Sunday, speaking in Portland, and on the 14th I'll be jamming with my great buddy Lisa Mann at Duff's Garage. I got a 3-song set where I'm going to sing the blues and have some fun. I'll be back with you on September 18th. Upcoming guests will include Transition US. I hope to have Caroline Staten, the executive director. We may have Jenna Orkin and Rice Farmer as guests, but we got some good guests coming up. Thank you so much.
I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. For those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!